Could you tell us about the first single, by the way? What is the song talking about?
I have no idea.
It does exemplify the energy of the band really well.
Title track from an amazing record called By the Way.
The thing that I think is a lot different with By the Way, aesthetically, is really the way that John wanted to record.
That was just where I was at the time, and I guess Flea did get frustrated a few times because he'd bring something in and I wouldn't get excited about it because it didn't fit into how I was thinking of the record.
The song By the Way was the result of having been a club the night before.
This drum and bass club that we had in LA called Concrete Jungle while we were writing the record. And a lot of the time I would bring the energy that I'd experienced there the night before to rehearsal, while a lot of these jams just ended up being just jams forever. By the Way was something where I felt like that I was feeling when we were writing that song, the same energy that I had been experiencing at the drum and bass club the night before. The goal is to make each song be its own special, unique thing. The goal is not to have like 15 songs that all sound like what you'd expect from the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
The working title for the song was Soul Train, as it was written shortly after the Chili Peppers attended the Soul Train Awards in 2001.
Waiting for shooter the love I never realized, but there's no show. I don't know. By the way, I tried to say I'd be there in your love.
Some of the draft lyrics were changed and the song was renamed to By the Way. It was released as the first single of the album with the same title.
We chose By the Way because
Our manager said so.
we're just puppets.
Although here they seem to be joking around, the band really weren't in favor of having it be the first single.
It is a microcosm of styles and dynamics. It doesn't exactly scream, hey, I'm your single.
Grammatically speaking, By the Way is a linguistic fragment, would you say? It's like, by the way...
I think it's a fragment of linguini, really.
But it's a part of a thought. What's the end of the sentence? By the way, what do you...
What is the song talking about?
I have no idea. No, it's just talking, it's just a kind of a landscape, really. It's just images and feeling of anticipation of maybe wanting to meet someone or hoping that you go out one night and something magical happens and you meet a partner to go on adventures with, and it takes place many different places at the same time, all in one night.
Was that...
Waiting for what?
Waiting for what?
Yeah.
Danny the girl is singing songs to me beneath the marquee. Come on, girl. All right, we'll take that. We'll take that.
Waiting for what?
Danny California happens to be based on a character who appears in By the Way as kind of the connection. You know, it's more like she jumped from one song into another song.
This character also appears in Californication.
That girl that I run into with the big tattoo on her belly, that's from a picture that Anthony had of a girl.
I started writing, I was like, oh my God, this is about the girl that was in By the Way, Danny. And then I realized that Danny in By the Way was about the girl in Californication, the teenage bride with the baby inside.
It's a kidnapping and a car chase and a performance and a rescue. And there's some comedy in there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
About a year ago, we all saw this movie called Amores Perros, and in that movie there's a car chase and a car crash, and it's shot in a very exciting style.
¡Ten una pistola, cabrón! ¡Cabrón, ten una pistola, güey! ¡Cargó la verga, cabrón! ¡Pinche!
and Jonathan and Valerie had the idea that it'd be good for a rock video because it was very exciting.
John and Val pretty much dreamt up this idea. We trust them. We have faith in them. We give them quite a lot of artistic liberty at this point.
You'll show it to John, like, get a load of this, and then you'll just send something back.
Well, it was John Frusciante's idea, really. He's
Pagers are my life. I try to get them into our music as much as possible.
You don't fancy those technical gadgets?
He's more of a cell phone guy, really.
For sure. He actually carries around a fax machine in his suitcase.
The second time around, what's the second message that you send Flea? In that video.
Whatever I typed, it has nothing to do with what they actually printed anyways. I typed a complicated map of directions and advice, and in the end, that you couldn't have read a single word, so they just sort of superimposed their own message, which was what, help?
This is going to be shut off. I mean, yeah, Salty will be right over here next to the bus. No way to get through. The Bronco's going to be chasing along through here. Okay.
I'm surprised that they trusted me to do it. I'm very surprised that they let me drive around and swerve around in a car with human lives at stake. It was fine.
Well, I don't even know how to drive in this life, so I'm probably pretty far from having a life of being a stunt double. I had an Evel Knievel doll when I was a kid. That's about right.
Initially, Anthony wanted Jim Carrey to play the cab driver, but later found Dave Sheridan to be the perfect match. He wasn't allowed to talk to him on set because
we play adversaries. He's my antagonist, and so I'm not even allowed to talk to him or tell him how happy I am that he's in our video. It's very frustrating because he's doing such a great job, and I want to let him know he's appreciated.
And I heard that you had problems with some acting, like you hurt yourself or stuff like this.
I cut my fingers up a little bit.
Oh.
Because I had to break glass.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I got a little bruise on my...
Yeah,
you poor little guy.
Cameras?
You know, that was good and everything, but Anthony dives more. Nice try, though.
Back then, the flip phone was like... When we actually debated whether or not we should show such modern technology.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, it wasn't like this will look dated in 10 years?
No, it was like, is anyone going to know what this is?
By the way, I tried to say I'd be there, waiting for.
Because there were so many vocal harmonies, there were times when it was just John and I recording, and times when just me recording, times with just John recording.
I just wanted to do something that was different from what I'd done before, and
he made a real conscious decision to layer many guitars on each song, and as well he wanted to play keyboards, synthesizers on songs, which he did, and he really wanted to he'd really got into studying doo-wop groups and girl pop groups of the 60s and stuff, and Beach Boys and background vocal harmony, so he really wanted to do a lot of that. And he did it, and that aesthetically gives the songs a different feeling, different sheen.
This caused a lot of tension. Flea in particular felt his creative input was being ignored, and for the first time wasn't happy within the band.
And by the way, I just didn't want it to be blues-based, so if Flea came in with something that was blues-based funky, I wasn't going to be into it at that time. That was just where I was at. I couldn't help it,
Always a healthy competitiveness between us, because we're all, wanting to give and wanting to, to show the other guys, look, I did something great, do you like it? And we want everyone to like it. And so it's always, we're always, when you're with the four guys and everyone's putting out their thing, you can't just human nature to have an air of competitiveness. But really, more than anything, it's just wanting to give something good that the other three guys like.
The competitiveness became unhealthy, and Flea almost quit the band. He even got angry and emotional about it during an interview a few years later.
At the time, I didn't think that I was limiting him. Maybe I just, I was just being honest about how I felt,
I might have been dominating situations more than I should have been, but you live and you learn, at the time that's not what it felt like, but looking back, I think I was being a little too headstrong. But I come by it honestly. My father was a little Armstrong, my mother was a little headstrong.
When you're in a band, you've really got to be considerate of the other people. if somebody sat there at home and put their heart into writing something, even if it's something that you don't feel like is going to work within the context of the band, you can't just say, "Are you joking?" Like you were saying, because it would kill the person.
Despite the turmoil and John leaving the band twice, the synergy between both of them is so strong that it brought them back together in 2019.
We were just talking about shit, and I said, sometimes I really miss playing with you. And when I said it, I couldn't help it. I just started sobbing. I started crying, and he looked at me, and I saw tears in his eyes too, and he's just like, me too. You know, one of those things that was just kind of beyond words or thoughts or anything like that. Just love. I mean, when John and I sit down and jam, we come up with stuff in a minute. You know, we just sort of the nature of who we are, our curiosity as musicians, and our just the way that we fit together.
Everyone's different, unique personalities. We're all a bunch of weirdos anyway, you know. So it's important you find the right combination of weirdos, you know.
Yeah.
And John is really the weirdest of them all.
Like, he's just so fucking good at music, but also he's so humble now. Like really humble and really open to having faith and honoring other people's ideas as well. I never am working with him where I don't feel seen or heard or valued, and that's a beautiful feeling. Trust me, he knows I'll never do him any harm.